This is a new beginning. For some, war. For others, power.
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Heir. So, other than Thrawn, the biggest reveal in the Ahsoka trailer are these two orange lightsaber wielding characters, and their names are Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. They appear to be Force sensitive, though it's unclear if they are Sith or something completely new to Star Wars. These unique orange sabers might reveal that these are the first ever Dark Jedi in canon. And this could mean that Ahsoka is about to introduce a Force user who is as powerful as Palpatine. So we have to talk about who and what these new villains are and what they are after and how they connect to Grand Admiral Thrawn.
The Jedi fell a long time ago. There aren't many left.
Right now, we don't know much about Baylan and Shin. From what was revealed, Baylan is the master and Shin is his apprentice. Notice she even seems to have a Padawan braid right here. In the trailer, we see Baylan dueling Ahsoka Tano in a mysterious temple. They are also attacking what looks to be a New Republic ship. This could confirm that they're working with Thrawn and the remnants of the Empire.
Oh, okay, so they're Sith.
Actually, no. They appear to be something else. There are two major clues, the unique orange lightsabers and this line.
I started hearing whispers about Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
So if you know the meaning of those words, heir to the Empire, then you're probably very happy.
Yes! Hell yeah!
So let's start with these strange lightsabers, and they're the biggest clue that Baylan and Shin are actually Dark Jedi.
So what's the deal with that Dark Jedi?
Well, Dark Jedi are basically Force sensitives that use the dark side of the Force, but they do not follow the Sith code. That being said, there are no Dark Jedi currently in canon. Those only exist in the Legends stories. That was the extended universe before Lucasfilm was bought by Disney. But the biggest clue to Baylan and Shin being Dark Jedi is their lightsabers. We have actually never seen lightsabers like these. And it's not just the blood orange glow, it's the fact that the entire blade is orange. Almost every lightsaber in Star Wars, no matter if it's blue, green, red, or something else, has a white glow at the center.
Blue, yellow, pink!
That's the iconic lightsaber look.
What about the Darksaber?
Right, the Darksaber is the only exception. The blade glows with black energy with a white glow around it. But the lightsabers Baylan and Shin are wielding have no white glow at their center. It's all the same color. This could be part of what's known as lightsaber bleeding. This is a process introduced in canon that explains how Sith turn their lightsabers red. The color of the Jedi lightsabers is determined by the kyber crystal inside. The crystals themselves are colorless and they only take the form of a color once chosen by the Jedi. But to get that red saber glow, the Sith must corrupt the kyber crystals in a process called bleeding. The Sith basically put pure dark side energy into the crystal.
Let the hate flow through you.
However, if a dark side wielder isn't fully turned to the dark side, their kyber crystals could resist their will. There are ways to purify a crystal with the light side of the Force to undo its bleeding, and this is how Ahsoka got her white lightsabers. Anyways, since the kyber crystals are hinged on the will and the nature of Force sensitives, it's possible that the lightsabers of Baylan and Shin are the color orange because they're not fully turned to the dark side. Hence, they are Dark Jedi. An interesting path to take with Baylan and Shin is that they detest the Sith ideals, and they don't consider themselves as dark side users. At the same time, they believe that the Jedi ways have failed the galaxy, and this is why they must draw on the dark side of the Force. This is the only way to bring balance to the chaos of the galaxy. This sets up an interesting conflict with Ahsoka, who appears to be thinking about rebuilding the Jedi Order.
Perhaps it is time to begin again.
Or, I guess, helping Luke with his Jedi Order. But at this point, Ahsoka doesn't see herself as a Jedi.
Revenge is not the Jedi way.
I am no Jedi.
So having Dark Jedi in this story brings up the question of what's the best path for the Jedi, especially considering what ends up happening to Luke's Jedi Order. Anyways, that's the lightsaber, but there's a much more important clue to the identities of these characters.
It's heir to the Empire.
So, because Thrawn is in the show, the title Heir to the Empire has a very important meaning to fans. That's because Thrawn was originally introduced in the Legends novel Heir to the Empire. The first book in the Thrawn trilogy, an amazing story that most fans will agree should have been the inspiration for the sequels. Based on everything we know about the show, Ahsoka will be adapting certain plot points from the Thrawn trilogy. This makes sense. Dave Filoni has been gradually introducing many elements from Legends into his shows. If that's the case, this could mean that the character of Baylan will be inspired by a Dark Jedi who's as powerful as Darth Sidious himself. And that's Joruus C'baoth.
Hello there.
Joruus C'baoth was a really powerful Jedi, and he was believed to be on Palpatine's power level. Joruus was part of the Jedi Order before they fell. But he was an outlier among the Jedi, leaning to the dark side and believing that Force sensitives are superior to other beings, so they should be ruling the galaxy. But he still was not technically a Sith. Joruus was a major threat and a problem to Sidious, so Palpatine pretended to be his friend and he supported his plan to lead an expedition to explore and colonize the unknown regions of the galaxy. Now, as the name says, it is an unknown area of the galaxy. It's extremely difficult to navigate this region because it is filled with black holes, supernovas, and lots of mystery. In both canon and legends, that is where Thrawn originates from. Thrawn is a Chiss and a member of the Chiss Ascendancy, and the First Order rose from these same unknown regions. Joruus C'Baoth's expedition got Palpatine. It was a trap to eliminate Joruus and all the Jedi that followed him. After a major battle in the unknown regions between the Trade Federation as well as the Chiss Ascendancy forces, who were being led by Thrawn at the time, Joruus and everyone on his expedition were killed.
So that's it? He just died?
Joruus C'Baoth died, but then someone else was born. Before Joruus' death, Palpatine cloned him, creating the Force-sensitive clone in the Legends continuity. Now, the original Joruus was a little unhinged himself, but being a Force-sensitive clone made the copy go completely mad. Also, the clone had a slightly different name, going by Joruus C'Baoth, and if I'm not mistaken, he was the first ever Dark Jedi in Star Wars. Anyways, after the fall of the Empire, Thrawn tracked him down and recruited him to his service. But Joruus' real plan was to turn Luke and Leia to the dark side and then build his own Dark Jedi Order. Anyways, if Ahsoka is adapting the Heir to the Empire story, then Baylan's Skoll could be this canon's version of Joruus C'Baoth. And I mean the original Joruus, not the clone Joruus, because I'm pretty sure that cloning Force sensitives is impossible at this point. This is why the Empire needs Grogu, so they can pull his midichlorians out of his blood and create a Force-sensitive clone for Palpatine, so we get this.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
And the whole story of cloning Joruus was basically transferred to Darth Sidious and Snoke. So I highly doubt that they would create another Force-sensitive clone before the sequels era. That being said, we don't really need a clone of Joruus C'Baoth to get his story in Ahsoka. The original Joruus leaned to the dark side even before his death. He had a superiority complex, believing that Force users should dominate the galaxy. That's the main reason he eventually became a Dark Jedi. All of these attributes can be easily transferred to Baylan. He could have been a powerful Jedi who lost faith in the Order and left it years before Order 66. Now this will be an interesting parallel to Ahsoka, who left the Jedi after being disillusioned by them during the Clone Wars. Unlike someone like Count Dooku, who turned fully to the dark side, Baylan became a Dark Jedi. It is possible that he sensed the Sith plot and he traveled to the unknown regions in search of ancient knowledge about the origins of the Force. That knowledge could connect to the mysterious place where Baylan is dueling Ahsoka, but more on that in a bit. As for Shin, judging by her age, she was likely born after Order 66. Joruus had a female apprentice as well, and her name was Lorana Gensler. Anyways, in the unknown regions, Baylan could have met Thrawn, and they decided to form an alliance, just like Thrawn and Joruus C'Baoth. Similar to Joruus, Baylan might be intending to create a Dark Jedi Order, and now that he's returning from the unknown regions, he believes himself to be a great galactic hero, the one who will set everything right, that he will lead the Jedi and everyone else to a better path.
I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
And a mastermind like Thrawn knows that there are huge advantages to having a powerful Dark Jedi at his disposal, especially when there's a powerful Jedi who's hunting him.
Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
And this brings us to how Ahsoka fits into all this. Her appearance in The Mandalorian confirmed that she is after Thrawn, and this is because she's searching for Ezra Bridger. At the end of Rebels, Ezra used the Purgil to jump himself and Thrawn into hyperspace.
Wait, Purgil?
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. Lots of stuff to explain. The Purgil are these space whales that can travel in hyperspace. We saw them in The Mandalorian Season 3. Anyway, after this, Ezra and Thrawn disappeared. But of course, the Grand Admiral returned and he's back in power in the Empire's remnant. My best guess is that the Purgil sent them somewhere in the unknown regions, and this is why Ahsoka will travel there in search of Ezra. Since she's also after Thrawn, that means that she will clash with Baylan and Shin. Also, Baylan himself might want to recruit Ezra and Ahsoka to his dark side order. Now, in the trailer, we see Baylan dueling Ahsoka in some mysterious temple that fans have speculated might be the World Between Worlds. And before you ask, I will explain that in a moment.
I wasn't gonna ask, but thank you.
Now, I'm not fully convinced that this is the same place. These symbols on the walls look more like diagrams or a map or something. Baylan might be searching for something, and that could be the World Between Worlds.
I'm waiting.
Alright, so the World Between Worlds is kind of complicated to explain without dedicating an entire video to it, but it's basically a dimension inside the Force. It's like a hallway that has doors leading to different points in space and time. Ezra used this place to save Ahsoka from death. In the second season, Ahsoka dueled Darth Vader inside a Sith temple. She was presumed dead after the temple blew up. In the 4th season, Ezra travels into the world between worlds and found a portal showing him a duel between Ahsoka and Vader in the past. Just before Ahsoka was meant to die, Ezra pulls her out of time into this timeless realm. And that is how Ahsoka returned. Basically, Star Wars time travel.
You time-sliding son of a bitch.
Also, the world between worlds seems to be connected to the Mortis gods. I mean, literally, they are on the gate leading into the realm. The Mortis gods are very powerful Force wielders who lived in an ethereal realm called Mortis. There are 3 beings, the daughter and the son, who represent the light side and the dark side of the Force, and the father is the balance between them and the Force. And all of this could tie into Baylan's actual plan. He might want to find the world between worlds and use it either to change the past or possibly to travel into the past himself.
He who controls it controls the universe.
And their names, Baylan, Skoll, and Shin, Hati, might be a hint to the connection of these gods of Mortis, because those are just like the names of 2 wolves in Norse mythology. Skoll is the wolf that chases the sun, while Hati chases the moon. On top of that, the sun and the moon are represented by a brother and sister, who are gods. And they have a father, very similar to the Mortis gods.
Coincidence? I think not!
And in case you didn't know, Dave Filoni really likes wolves. Also, the world between worlds is connected to wolves as well. And there might be another symbolic importance to these names. Skoll and Hati chase the sun and moon until they swallow them when Ragnarok starts. Ragnarok represents the end of the world, and then the world starts again. In the Norse myths, the world exists inside of an endless cycle. And when you think about it, Ragnarok sort of keeps happening in Star Wars all the time. The Jedi and Sith are locked in an endless cycle of destruction, and that leads to republics and empires rising and falling time and time again. So Baylan might want to change it somehow with time travel, like traveling far into the past and changing the trajectory of the Jedi from the very start. Or it doesn't have to be the past. He might want knowledge of the future so he can set the galaxy on the right path. Though time travel might not be the best path for Star Wars, just saying, especially since so many other franchises are using it as a plot device right now.
I don't want to talk about time travel shit.
So instead, Baylan and Thrawn might be searching for the world between worlds to receive ancient knowledge and then weaponize it to achieve their goals. In the case of Baylan and Shin, it's creating a powerful Dark Jedi order. And this is where I believe Ahsoka is going with Baylan and Shin. So do you think they're Dark Jedi? And is it possible that Baylan is Ahsoka's version of Jorah Sabaoth? And should there be time travel in Star Wars? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.